Illinois State Rifle Association. Second Amendment is an amendment to the Constitution. If you read it, it guarantees the people right to own a weapon.
Okay.
And that includes the cities. Their citizens too. The people in the cities, including Chicago, have a right to own a weapon. So I'm against the laws that they have. The Supreme Court is going to hear the Chicago laws banning weapons, and I think they're going to knock it down, in my opinion. And I believe that citizens have the right to use a weapon to defend themselves if they have to. I'm for concealed carry laws in this state, and I'm one of the few people, I'm the only one in the Democratic side for this.
Okay.
So I'm a strong defender of the Second Amendment rights.
Excellent. Let's talk about this next one. It has a little bit of a healthcare angle to it if you read into it, but do you believe it is right for taxpayer dollars to fund practices which many taxpayers find morally offensive?
No, we shouldn't. And one issue that comes to mind is abortion. I'm against public funding of abortion. Taxpayer people, many people, not the majority of society, but they have very strong religious or moral feelings about this issue, and I don't see why we shouldn't respect their feelings, even though they might be a tiny minority. They may be a majority. It doesn't matter. They have very strong moral feelings on this, and I don't think taxpayer money should be used to fund something like this. Abortion would be one of the first things I would think of.
Okay. How about term limits? What's your thoughts on term limits?
That's another issue. I'm for term limits. I think congressmen should be limited to 10 years, and senators should be limited to 12 years or 2 terms. And my reasoning is that when we have a president we give him 8 years, and that's enough for the president. Why could we have the same for congressmen and senators? So, and that's. And the other thing is, it seems to me many times it takes them about 10 years to turn crooked. Sometimes. So if you cut them off at 10 years, maybe you'll stop some of this corruption. Yeah. So I'm a strong defender of term limits.
Well, what about lobbyists? What's your thoughts on lobbyists? Because a lot of people that actually get defeated end up becoming a lobbyist. You see that quite often in Washington. Or if they retire, they become a lobbyist. What's your thought on lobbying?
Well, that's a very difficult issue. It's almost like a First Amendment issue. I mean, it's people's right to express themselves, for example. There are many lobbyists. There are lobbyists we like and lobbyists we don't like. There's the NRA, for example, has a lot of lobbyists in Washington and Springfield. It's to many extent, it's a First Amendment issue. And then if you like the Second Amendment, you should be just as enthusiastic about the First Amendment. In general, we should try to curb the power of lobbyists, though. I think they do put interference or a blanket or something between the voter and the politician. So in general, we should try to decrease their power as much as possible.
Yeah, okay. Do you support a law that would require constitutional justification in every bill that's presented in the House and Senate?
Yeah, that's another difficult issue. Obviously, the issue here is the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court tends to be very socially active, sometimes too much. You could always hire a lawyer to go over every bill. In fact, I would have a staff and some money to do that. And you would try as much as you could, or as best you could, to determine whether something is constitutionally viable. You could try, but the thing is, the Supreme Court has the last say. No matter what you say or what your lawyers, they have the last say. The solution to this is to get Supreme Court justices who are fair, who are conservative, if possible, and who know the Constitution and enforce that.
So basically, it would be a person that would follow much closely to the Constitution as the original intent would be, rather than express themselves
or try to go beyond
on what the limit of it says. Okay.
Right.
This is our last question. You have a chance to look in the mirror there, or into the camera, and tell the people what experiences you would bring. Why you think you'd be the best choice for senator, and what would your primary responsibilities or primary concerns be when elected?
Well, I want to go over. Thank you very much for having me here, by the way, and thank you for listening. Oh, my name is Dr. Robert Marshall. I'm running for U.S. Senate in the Democratic primary. I'm qualified, I think, for this because I'm a father of 4 children. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I'm the only veteran, by the way, in this on my side of the race. I'm a physician, a radiologist. I work downstate Kankakee. I'm the oldest person I'm in this race on the Democratic side. That gives me a lot of experiences. That means I've made probably the most number of mistakes too, I suppose, but hopefully I've learned from them. I'm a private citizen. I come at this as a private citizen, as a taxpayer or a small businessman. I think in terms of spending and taxation. I have the approval of the National NTUI, National Taxpayers United of Illinois. I have their endorsement. That's a taxpayers group in Illinois. We're opposed to tax increases, and I've taken a taxpayers pledge to oppose all tax increases if I'm elected, and I will hopefully live up to that. I'm the only one, as far as I know, who's taken that pledge. Another good thing about me is I have a lot of downstate experience, downstate exposure. I worked downstate hospitals for 20 years now. To win the general election, you've got to have some support from downstate. If you're just from Chicago and you're a liberal, like some people, other people in this race, you're going to have a tough time in the general election. And I think I can give that to the people of Illinois and be the best candidate in November. I'm in general much more conservative than an awful lot of people in this race, and in some cases more conservative than some of the Republicans are. If you're an independent or even a Republican, I'd like to ask you to give me your support. This involves maybe even crossing over into a different party or a party you've never voted for before. In the Republican side, the conservative vote is going to be split 4, 5, 6 different ways, and the possibility of a good conservative getting through is pretty slim. On the Democratic side, it's just me. There's just one person as a conservative, and if you have real good conservative values, I would like to ask for your support and vote for me on February 2nd. I think there's a very good chance if we have a middle of the road or even right of center or conservative people voting for me in February 2, it's possible that we could win. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Is there more information they want to get from you? What's your website again?
Well, I mentioned it once. We'll do it again. It's real simple. Marshall for USSenate.com. That has everything you all biography, my complete platform, how to get a hold of us, everything you want to know.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.